Yeah. Good evening. We would like to call this meeting to order. This is a reminder to please silence all of your electronic devices. And a reminder that this meeting will be video and audio recorded. Ms. Delorier, could I get a roll call, please?
Yes, Vice Chairwoman. Dr. Shantae Jones.
Here.
Ms. Ellen Slobodnik.
Here.
Mr. Michael Cummings.
Here.
Vice Chairwoman, Mr. Paul Alexander is absent tonight.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on, are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Yes, Vice Chairwoman, we do have an addition. We would like to add an action item for the school board meeting date adjustments. Adjustments will be discussed during the action agenda, and the board will need to make a motion to approve those adjustments to the school board calendar.
Okay. All right, could I get a motion to approve the addition to the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, and now could I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion.
Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, I sure did forget that. All right. We're going to do the moment of silence and pledge of allegiance. Mr. Cummings, could you lead us in those?
My penance. Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. So we've done our additions and corrections to the agenda, voted on that, and we are going to move on to the public hearing on FY 26 through 30 capital improvement plan. All right, I'm opening this public hearing. The purpose of this public hearing is to allow comments directly related to the FY 26 through 30 capital improvement projects. Citizens wishing to speak must sign in. When called to the podium, please provide your name and Manassas Park City address, or if staff, job title, and work location. Each person is allotted 3 timed minutes to make comments. Ms. Delorier will let you know when you have reached 3 minutes. Ms. Delorier, has anyone signed up to speak?
No, Vice Chairwoman.
All right, thank you very much. I'm now closing this public hearing on the FY 26 through 30 capital improvement projects. Thank you very much. All right. And moving on to the next thing is the approval of the consent agenda. I trust we've all had a chance to read that. So can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion approved. Moving on to the superintendent spotlight.
Good evening. I'm going to ask Ms. Pam Kelso to come forward and share some exciting spotlights with the board.
Good evening, Vice Chair Jones and members of the board. Very special superintendent spotlight this evening, and that is the recognition of our 4 outstanding principals. We are going to piggyback on our Virginia School Appreciation Week, which was in January, knowing that we would have them here this evening so that we could publicly recognize them. So I'm going to go through and ask each of them to come up when I call their name. I'm going to read a quote from a staff member in their building that encapsulates all that they are to the students and staff and families of their schools. In addition, they'll receive this frame, which includes the quote as well as a heart with all the pieces of all the good work that they do for everybody at Manassas Park City Schools. So I'll begin with Miss Margot Pareja. Miss Pareja, come on up. Margot has exceptional leadership and dedication to our school community. Her commitment to creating a positive and nurturing educational environment is evident in all that she does, and it has a profound impact on all students at CES. Her focus on academic excellence, coupled with an emphasis on fostering a supportive community, has created an environment where students thrive both academically and personally. Margot's resilience and adaptability in navigating the complexities of education has been inspiring. Her ability to lead with compassion, wisdom, and clear vision has provided a sense of stability and hope for the future. Thank you, Margot. Next, we have Dr. Donnie Elijahwan. Dr. Elijahwan could not be here this evening, but I'm going to go ahead and read the quote. Since his arrival, Dr. Elijahwan has fully embraced elementary life. He brings enthusiasm and positive energy to even the littlest moments of the day. His desire to learn, understand, and continue moving forward are qualities that are respected and needed during this transitional year. Early on, Dr. Elijahwan's passion and commitment was evident, as he intentionally set time to build relationships with staff, students, and families. From his morning classroom visits to recognition emails, Dr. O strives to not only maintain, but strengthen our positive, close-knit school culture. These efforts do not go unnoticed. Thank you, Dr. O. Let's give Dr. Elijahwan a round of applause. Ms. Tuttle, come on up. Ms. Tuttle is a dedicated leader who goes above and beyond for all the students and staff in our school. From the moment she stepped into the building as our principal, Kip has embraced the vision of expectations of excellence. She has put her all into guiding all the individuals within our building to be the best that they can be. During her time as our principal, Kip has led our school with a steadfast commitment to showing everyone in the building compassion while pushing us all to strive for excellence. Ms. Tuttle embodies all of the qualities of an excellent leader and takes the time to foster these qualities in others. Kip welcomes and listens to the ideas and feelings of her employees and makes everyone feel like they have a voice within the school. Kip's depth of knowledge of education, compassion, and dedication to everyone in our school is truly inspiring, and we are extremely fortunate to have her as our principal. So thank you, Ms. Tuttle. Mr. Forrest. I have the sincerest appreciation for Charles' exemplary service and dedication to our school and students. His commitment to student success, an innovative approach to education, and support for the staff and community are just some of the exemplary attributes he brings to Manassas Park High School. He connects with students, fosters a stimulating learning environment, and motivates staff and students alike to achieve their full potential. Charles is always willing to go the extra mile to get involved with the community and school activities, mentorship programs, and professional development initiatives that have a profound impact on our school community. Charles is always visible in the hallways before and after school and in between classes. Thank you for your outstanding contributions. Your hard work and dedication are greatly appreciated and do not go unnoticed. Thank you, Mr. Forrest. Special thank you to our principals. It's a tireless and difficult job, and they work so hard for the students, the staff, and families of Manassas Park. So thank you again, principals, for all that you do. Thank you. We're going to have a picture. Quick picture.
Dr. Jones, would you like to stand with them? I get to be Kara tonight to take pictures. I'll try and do my best. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank
Thank you so much. The next thing on the agenda, the superintendent's announcements. All right, thank you very much.
Sweet.
And moving on to new business, we have the FY26 superintendent's proposed budget presentation.
Well, good evening, Vice Chairwoman Jones, members of the board. Thank you for joining us here tonight. This evening, I will present the FY26 Superintendent's proposed budget for Manassas Park City Schools. This budget reflects our commitment to the educational excellence and fiscal responsibility aligned with our strategic goals, and I look forward to sharing this with you this evening. Our budget aligns with the Manassas Park City Schools strategic plan, which focuses on these three pillars. Pillar 1, reimagining the school experience. Pillar 2, building community and connection. And Pillar 3, creating safe spaces. This past school year, we've continued to work on our strategic plan process. And we look forward to June in the late spring, early summer to release our public-facing KPI dashboard, which will really measure our success with our strategic plan. But as we're developing our budget, certainly the strategic plan is a center point of what guides our decision-making and how we work through that. I like to share this slide because behind all of the dollars and the cents and the things that we do every day are these points of pride. I could spend slide after slide after slide really sharing all the amazing things that are going on in our school system. But it's important to understand that this is the why behind the budget. This is what our budget funds. I'm excited to share the progress and some of the work that our students have had and done over the last year. So I want to point out a couple of things here. Over 200 Manassas Park High School students have completed a work-based learning experience, gaining hands-on learning skills that will serve them beyond graduation. At the elementary and middle school levels, over 1,000 students have participated in accelerated tutoring programs since January of 2024, showing our commitment to academic support and really finding ways that we can engage those students where they are in their learning. Our chronic absenteeism rate as a division has decreased by 12.7% in the 23-24 school year, a significant achievement that reflects our focus on student engagement and really understanding and meeting the needs of our students. And beyond academics, we have great things going on for our students in the extracurricular area. Our marching band, you saw them the other night. Our marching band has earned the Chairman's Award at the Greater Manassas Christmas Parade with a perfect, I think first ever, perfect score, and want to shout them out. Our esports team at the high school has qualified for Fall State Tournament, and our new debate team is already competing in the WACFL League. These successes are the why behind the dollars. They're the stories of growth, dedication, and commitment and community pride. So I share those. There's a lot more on there I hope you can take a look at. Each year, the Virginia Code requires the superintendent of schools to present a needs-based budget to the school board within a certain time frame. The code is linked there. And I'm pleased tonight to share this budget with you. Our FY26 budget process was, we used a needs-based zero budget development framework. The total proposed budget for FY26 is $64.7 million across 6 key funds: our federal, operating, grants, capital, medical trust, and food services. This budget was developed using the needs-based and zero-based framework, ensuring that every dollar addresses critical priorities. Each fund is balanced through projected allocations, fund carryovers, and prudent fiscal management. So I want to share with you the priorities that you're going to see in the budget. Just because it is not on the slides doesn't mean that it isn't a priority and that it isn't held in the budget at some place, but these are some key areas that I want to highlight to show our commitment. Our 4 priorities for this budget were improving literacy and mathematics performance, investing in compensation and benefits, strengthening student support, and promoting sustainability and future planning. In the next few slides, I'm going to go through those priorities and show you some key highlights that are held within the budget. First is improving literacy in mathematics. We talked a lot last year about the VLA, the Virginia Literacy Act, and the requirements around that. So the Virginia Literacy Act really is a focal point and continues to be a focal point for our students. Focusing on literacy across the board is incredibly important. This budget, the FY26 proposed budget, includes 43 ELL positions in the budget, full-time positions. Just kind of compare that to what I presented in FY25. The FY25 budget included 26 positions, and we did a budget amendment during last year to add 10 more positions. So the significant increase in ELL support through those teaching positions in lots of creative ways are really reflected in this budget. We've included supplemental and intervention materials for our students across various grade levels. And then the expansion of the Virginia Literacy Act. Last year we spoke a lot about the early years, the K3 years. This will then increase and move the expansion of the Virginia Literacy Act all the way through the 8th grade. I also want to note that we receive funds from the state, the All in Virginia funds along the way. And through those funds, those were 3-year funds that will be expiring at the end of next year. But some of our reading specialists were housed in those funds, and so this budget actually takes action to move those reading specialists out of funds that are expiring and into our operational fund, because we understand the importance of that and maintaining that as we move into future budgets. The second area of investment was in compensation and benefit. This is really how we value our staff and really look at that compensation piece. This year, I'm really pleased that we've spent a significant amount of time on the benefits part that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. But in fact, we want to show and highlight the compensation piece in here. The proposed budget includes a 5.2% average increase for instructional and classified employees, and that's a 2% step and a 3% COLA average. It includes a 4.2% average salary increase for the managerial employees, a 2% step, and a 2% COLA. Something new in the FY26 budget is a recognition of those employees that meet the top of our scale. So we do have employees that have been with us for many, many years and who have demonstrated their commitment to our system. And so we have added a top scale supplement for those instructional and classified employees of $1,000. And that would be in addition to the COLA. So they would continue to get the COLA. They just are not on the step scale any longer. And the final piece is we have included an increase in here in the proposed budget for school board salaries. The school board salaries have not increased since the early 2000s. And so this is an increase of $6,000 it will change to $6,000 for board members and $7,000 for the board chair. I want to highlight or just kind of draw your attention to the chart on the other side of the slide. If you remember, when I began the tenure here, we worked on a phased process to bring in change into our salary scales. And we've accomplished almost everything on this. The last piece has been taking a look at the stipends. I can report that our staff has reviewed the stipend piece. We have done some comparisons and really have looked into what would it take for us to make our stipends a little bit more competitive to our surrounding jurisdictions. The estimated cost for that would be about $100,000 to make that change. So while we have completed the review of the salary, the stipends, I have not included that in the budget. There were priorities around making sure that we could assess the COLA and the step for everyone, but I do want to let the board know that that review process has taken place, and as we look forward into future budgets, we will consider that again as well. The second part of compensation and benefits has been the benefit piece. So the Superintendent Advisory Committee, I meet with the Superintendent Advisory Committee throughout the school year, and each year this group of individuals works with me on a project. In past years, we've talked about looking at our recognitions, and this year I asked them to really look at benefits. And so I want to give a shout out to the people who are listed here on this slide. We have representation from every building, from classified to instructional, from transportation to food services. our central office group, our administrators, and our executive team. And this group has been a really fun group to work with. Their voice is incredibly important and powerful. And throughout the last few meetings, I've met with them about 4 times. We meet about once a month. And I gave them a task to go back to their areas and their departments and really talk about what were the benefits like, how were people experiencing their benefits, were there things that we could do differently, were there things that were working well, and really challenge them to think outside the box a little bit. What else could we do to make us more competitive and really value our employees? They came back to the table with some information, and we collected it all and put it all on poster paper and really came to the idea that there were 3 focus areas for benefits. The area of leave, how we use it, what we call, how much, those types of things. The area of insurance, around health insurance premiums, and the area of retirement. Our budget is limited and we don't have unlimited resources. And so for this particular budget, we really focused in on the area of leave and had some good conversations with the Superintendent's Advisory Committee about that. And so represented in the FY26 budget, proposed budget, are some highlights around employee leave benefits. The first is this budget does include 6 weeks of paid maternity-paternity leave for anyone after 1 year of service in Manassas Park. This does make us competitive with our surrounding jurisdictions who also offer that opportunity. This budget proposes a transition of all current sick and personal leave balances to a move to paid time off, PTO. We currently have sick, personal, combination of things, and there are lots of rules around how you use those different kinds of things. So this budget proposes moving everything to general paid time off. There would be no change to annual leave balances. That would remain the same, but sick and personal would turn to PTO, providing a little more flexibility for the employee. In addition, we would provide 15 days of paid time off beginning July 1. Currently, between the sick and the personal, employees receive 13 each year. So that's an addition of 2 more days for each employee for paid time off. Again, there would be no change to the annual leave allotment. We would continue to earn that as we do. All of this would require us to do some revisions of leave policies and regulations to make sure that they were aligned with current laws and make sure that they were very clear with our employees about how and when you can use that leave. Certainly with 15 days of PTO, we don't want our employees taking 15 days at one time, so there would be some rules around that, and that would have to come through policy and regulation updates beginning July 1. And finally, we have entered into a new benefits administration platform. This platform will provide us a more user-friendly platform for those on the other side. It's enhanced customer service. It was interesting, one of the common themes as we began talking about benefits is that we don't do a great job of educating our employees about the benefits that they have. We all learned a lot in those meetings, and we're surprised at some of the things that we do have that people were not necessarily accessing. So that idea of an enhanced customer service and more education is something that is really a non-cost factor, but it's something that is needed so that people are taking full advantage of the benefits that are offered for them when they understand what they are. Our third priority is strengthening student support. The FY26 proposed budget has several things that really support our students and the health and wellness of our community as it grows each day. This budget adds an additional counselor at the elementary campus to provide that early intervention. It adds a dean of students at Manassas Park High School to provide opportunities for additional behavior support as well as just the daily management of the building. It includes front office support positions at Manassas Park High School and the middle school. It continues our school attendance resources. Those are our attendance officers at the building levels or at the campus levels as well as the division level, in addition to our attendance platform that we use that sends messages to families and really gets us to that place where we are making a difference in the attendance rates. It maintains Care Solace, our mental health resource. Remember, it is a 24/7, 365-day option for our families, not just our families, but our staff and our students and anyone in our community. It is a free resource. It is multilingual. And I've shared with you a little bit of statistics on this slide so you can see just how much it is being used by our school community and our community broader. Those are the data from July of 2024 to January of 2025. And so you can see that there is a need for us to have an additional resource that is available 24/7. Our counselors are amazing as we celebrate our counselors over the last couple of weeks, but they can't do it all. And this is an opportunity for us to have that streamlined event. And this is a resource that was once paid for through our ESSER funds. And as you know, our ESSER dollars are no longer available to us. And so we have to pull that into our operating budget. And this demonstrates how the need is there and how it is something that we should value. We will also continue our free breakfast and lunch programs for all students. I know that's a commitment that the board has and wants to continue as long as we can through that process. So this budget does reflect that, supporting our students and families. And our last priority is sustainability and future planning. As you know, we worked with the governing body in FY23 to create the reserve line item for the schools. The purpose of that reserve line item was specifically to provide sustainability for our salaries moving forward, and to begin preparing for the potential change in the local composite index. As the city continues to build and grow and bring in businesses, we anticipate that local composite index would change, and the city would be responsible for putting more into the budget than the state. So the reserve line item has grown as a result of fiscal prudence and year-end surplus. Year over year, we are returning dollars to that reserve line item and using it in this particular budget to help the operation fund. The FY26 superintendent's proposed budget requests partial use of the city schools reserve fund in the amount of $872,000, a little over that, to really support those salaries and those increases. So we will be asking the governing body for that. At this time, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Mr. Lyon, and he's going to take you through some things. And I'm also going to introduce Miss Amy Watkins as well, and she will be also taking you through part of the budget. So at this time, Dave.
Dr. Jones, members of the board, good evening. What you're looking at here is our budget development process. As Dr. Saunders mentioned earlier, we start with a zero-based framework. Every line is zeroed out. And we have a 5-phase process. Phase 1 starts with our budget holders. They look at the students' needs, their department's needs, their team's needs, and review their resources and what they require to meet those needs. And they develop their budget requests. At the end of phase 1, those requests are presented by the supervisors, the principals, the department heads of those budget holders to the executive cabinet team, and we all present our budgets together and review them. Phase 2, after that presentation, we go through those requests, make adjustments, and we try to balance a budget or get as close to it as we can to ensure the needs are still being met of the students. Then we present that to the superintendent at phase 3. Superintendent then takes all of those requests, things that were removed, things that were added, and reviews those requests in light of her priorities. She makes her adjustments, and tonight we're at phase 4, where we're presenting it to the school board. So after tonight, it will officially be at phase 4 in the hands of the school board. Once the school board finishes and takes action on it in March and approves a budget, we will present it to the governing body for phase 5. And that will be the final phase of the appropriating body. We have many inputs when developing this budget at all phase levels. One is our enrollment, and this isn't anything new. As we presented over the past few years, our enrollment has continued to decline since COVID. Now, the good news is the decline has, slowed over the last few years, but it still is declining each year. The one thing to notice is our populations of the students with the greatest needs are increasing. Our students who are identified as economically disadvantaged is increasing, up to 55%. Our English learner population percent is up to 45, and our students with disability percentage is up to 15. And you can see that how those three subgroups have increased over the last 3 years. And those subgroups require more resources every time they increase. But we work hard to make sure we meet those. Then we take a look at the Weldon Cooper Center out of UVA. They project school enrollment in the out years. And as you see here, they're projecting a continuing decline in student enrollment. And I will say this is not unique to us. All their projections are declining in the Northern Virginia area. But we take a look at this, and as we're looking at these projections and these enrollments, we also take a look at our student-teacher ratios to make sure, to see if there's any adjustments we can make or repurpose maybe some positions that haven't been filled over the years for other positions that we may need as those needs have evolved. Looking at per student, per pupil expenditures, through year 24 on this grid, those are the actuals broken down. These ADMs do include pre-K through 12, and they're broken apart by local per pupil, state per pupil, sales tax, and the federal per pupil. And you'll notice a dramatic decrease in the federal funding because of all of those COVID funds have sunset now. But the other ones, the state and the local, have increased because as our funding increases and our ADM drops, of course, that per pupil amount will increase. Looking at FTEs that are in the proposed budget tonight, our K-3 class size is 22 students to 1 teacher, and that is required so we can continue to qualify for the Classroom Reduction Act money. Grades 4 and 5 are at 24 to 1, and the middle school and the high school remains at 25 to 1. At this point, I want to introduce to you our Supervisor of Budget and Finance, Ms. Amy Watkins, and she'll walk you through the numbers. Ms. Watkins?
Good evening, Vice Chair Jones and board members. This is a revenue by source, so the superintendent's proposed budget has 6 funds, federal, local, city, and Commonwealth are shown up there as the funding sources for the 6 funds of general operating, other grants, food services, capital projects, medical trust fund, and the federal. So majority of the money, the 66%, come from the state Commonwealth, followed by the city governing body at the 26% and the federal at 6.5%. 6.5% includes $2 million for the food service program for the free lunches for all students. This chart displays the expenditure by fund. The general operating fund represents the largest expenditures with nearly 90% of the total budget. School nutrition is at 4% and federal at 3%. Expenditure by function, these are classified as required by Virginia state reporting. 75% of the total budget is in classroom instruction, with administration and attendance and health at 8%. And you have food services, technology, and transportation kind of equal there at 5%. Changing lenses to look at the expenditures by object or category, if you will. You'll see that salaries and benefits account for 80% of the total proposed budget. That's why these steps and COLAs impact it so significantly. So we'll look at the financial statement, which displays the revenues and expenditures for each fund. The first is the federal fund, with revenues generated for federal grants such as Title I, Title II, Title III, 611. Prior years, this included ESSER, and you can see in FY23 why the revenues are significantly higher, and it decreases each of the following years as the ESSER life cycles begin to phase out, with the final remaining in September of this current FY25 year for ESSER. This fund must always balance, and we cannot carry any funds going forward. The general fund is our operating fund, and it accounts for about 89% of our total proposed budget. The revenue for here comes from our local sources, the state, the governing body of Manassas Park. As you notice, the total expenditures, the 57.7, is higher than the total revenues received. That is why Dr. Saunders will be requesting the governing body to allow our school reserve line to be used to achieve our balanced budget this year. Other grants, this was a new fund established in FY24 for the all-in money and grants received. This allows us the capability for multi-year grants that we receive the funding up front, and the expenditures are multi-year, to account and carry forward a balance without commingling with that operating fund that would get returned to the city in our reserve line. The all-in grant is set to expire in FY26. School Nutrition Fund is a self-supporting fund. As mentioned earlier, we qualify for the CEP for federal program for students to receive free lunches. Going forward, you'll notice the expenditures exceed the revenues. This is done intentionally. The state requires us to spend down its fund balance, and you can't carry more than a few of the months of operating expenditures for that program. The Capital Projects Funds, this is a new, starting in FY24, Manassas Park governing body began funding our capital projects separately from the operations. This is a significant improvement to our budget process. It allows better planning of our capital projects in a more timely manner without sacrificing the general operating dollars. The Medical Trust Fund is a fund that we use to manage health insurance premiums of our retirees. This is a benefit in FY26. You can see the change in the balance. This is due to the fact that there's a set of retirees that were grandfathered in to receive a years of service subsidy for their years of service. So that is a requirement that Manassas Park City Schools is to pay for those funds. We've taken a look at all of the funds individually. This here is a snapshot of the consolidated FY26 superintendent's proposed budget with total expenditures at the $64.8 million. Mr. Lyon will be back up to discuss the 5-year forecast.
We have a 5-year forecast that's included in your attachments. As the previous year, this model is built on alternating factors. Let's see if we can pull it up. Oh, there it is. Oh, okay. But anyway, the 5-year forecast, the first year builds upon a step at a 2% average and a COLA at a 2% average. And then the alternating year would only be a step. So in the 5-year forecast, you'll see the differences of that planning. Now, we have planned this every year for the last 4 years, and not once have we been able to follow the model that we try to because of our competing environmental factors around the area. We can't, if we tried to follow this model right now, we'd be in a world of hurt because we can't keep up if everyone else is doing a COLA every year. And so though we try to, at the heart of things, try to follow this, really the reality is we're doing COLAs every year with our steps at this point. However, this is still useful. The governing body looks at this and it helps them plan out their distributions of funds to us, or the annual transfer to us in their out years, and it helps them with planning for that. So that's been a huge benefit of doing this 5-year forecast with them and for them. Take it back to presentation. And next steps, I'll let Dr. Saunders come up and conclude the presentation.
So as you can see, the process, the budget process continues. Tonight is the February 10th Superintendent's proposed budget. February 24th is a public hearing on the Superintendent's proposed budget. March 17th, the school board budget adoption. We may see a change in that. That is part of the agenda adjustments for today. And March 18th, once the board has approved the budget, then the board will present to the governing body. As we close tonight, I just want to say thank you to all of those, specifically those in the room today, who have really worked hard to help us develop a budget that really reflects the needs of our students, the needs of our staff, of our community, and really continue us to move forward in our strategic plan and reach our strategic goals. Our principals have been amazing in going through this process. You know, it is an iterative process, and one that, you know, we come back and forth and have a lot of really hard discussions about what ends up here at the end of the day. So I want to thank them. I want to thank Dave and Amy for their work, as well as our executive team, Pam and Dave and Kara, who spent a lot of hours on looking on this, and they really have done a great job. So they make my job easier. So I want to thank them for that. And at this time, this concludes the superintendent's FY26 proposed budget.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saunders. Are there any questions from the board?
I have a few questions as well as highlights. I just wanted to reiterate the around 13% decrease in chronic absenteeism. That's really amazing as a district, so I just want to applaud everyone's efforts for that. Thank you for outlining your top 4 priorities. I think it really helps us kind of see your organized thoughts. Knowing our largest population of L students, it's great to see that we're increasing those teachers from 26 to 43. I'm thrilled to see the reading specialist positions being continued, so taking out of the all-in tutoring or kind of extended into the actual budget, especially with the VLA continuing. I think that's really, really helpful for our students. I did have a question. I love that we're in, I kind of see the improvements for L students, but I was wondering if there's anything towards the SPED or just it wasn't highlighted in the presentation.
There wasn't anything specifically highlighted in the presentation. You know, Ms. Kiernan works, our Director of Special Education, and Ms. Kelso work together on developing really the focus for special education and how we're going to staff that. A lot of those funds are done through our grant funds, the 611, as Amy spoke about. So there could be changes within those, and certainly that's a needs-driven and demand process for our special education students. So there are a few things that are in the budget. There's some extension of some contracts of people and some minor things to provide more support and more opportunities.
Perfect. I just had a few more highlights. I'm glad to see that the free breakfast and lunch program is continued next school year. I know as a board that's very, very important to us, so thank you for making sure that that's continued in the budget, as well as the school attendance resources. Again, I think it's really helping to continue our work in decreasing our absenteeism rates. I wanted to also highlight that our enrollment is decreasing as we're seeing the numbers, but those high needs populations are increasing. So just to kind of argue why, as a school board, even though our student population is going down, we still do need more funds to support those students. I think that's very important, just to be reiterated and repeated multiple times. And just to highlight that our class sizes continue to remain on the smaller size compared to our other districts, our neighboring districts, to really give those high needs populations the support they need. So thank you to everyone for your hard work on the budget. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Cummings, you have anything?
More of a highlight. I just want to say thank you for taking the time to gather staff together and listen to them. I know that that's a big complaint with many workplaces, but I really do appreciate, and I'm sure they are going to appreciate how things are going to, yes, change is hard, but explain change and they'll appreciate it a little bit more. Plus those extra 2 days are a nice little addition. But-
And I would also mention that they were volunteering their time. We meet after the regular school day when all 4 campuses are done. So they are really sticking around to, to really come and share their voice and then go back and share that with their communities. So I really thank them for doing that.
Thank you very much. Well, Ms. Slobodnik, I was checking off everything, the highlights that you mentioned. I was checking off my list.
Some of them could be repeated, Dr. Jones.
But I did have 2 questions, so we'll move on. I do appreciate also the 4 priorities. My question was, I know last year there were a couple things that we kind of had to take out of the budget. Were any of those covered in this year's budget or put back, or?
I
Still
think,
needed?
the priority was really the COLA and the STEP, understanding that we have to maintain a workforce that is competitive and salaries that are competitive so that we get the best and brightest in our classrooms. So that was really the focus. Are there some things that I would say, if additional funds came available, that I would recommend back to the board? Certainly. That look at the stipends is one of the things that I would highlight. I think we've had some requests for additional staff to support special education at sort of the administrative level. That would be another conversation. Different kinds of pieces for additional staff for coaching and supporting in that kind of way, both instructionally. So there are some pieces that we would add back. Certainly, it's been my priority over the last 4 years to have the same percentage COLA and STEP for all employees, and you can see this year there is a differentiated scale with the 4.2 for managerial. That may be something that I would suggest as well. So I think there are some pieces that are not part of this in order to fund those other priorities.
Thank you. And then I, too, appreciate those extra days for the paid time off. Was there or is there any cost differential or cost savings to giving those additional 2 days?
Yeah, so we did have to increase. You can assume that you would have more sub-cost for substitute teacher costs. So every time a staff member is not here and they need a substitute, that is a cost to us. So we did increase the overall sub-cost line item by about $200,000. I would say there's an additional piece that is in here in the budget, or our intention is to move the first pay check to August versus September or the end. We're moving it forward. Many of our teachers come in, even though our new teachers, we do pay a little bit earlier when they're brand new, but there was a desire for those paychecks to begin in August versus waiting until that September timeframe. And so that, it's counterintuitive, but that actually causes us to pay payroll taxes and different kinds of things at a different time. It's not like it's more, but it's a different time, and so we have to count for that. So that $200,000 is also earmarked for helping us to support that.
All right. Thank you very much, and thank you and everyone on for your hard work on this. We appreciate it.
And I will tell the board that Mr. Lyon will be sending out a link to you for a Google Doc. As you review this and you think about it, you may get questions or have things that you would like clarification on. Please feel free to put those questions in the Google Doc. Our staff will answer that. And then we will make that publicly available to, the public once we come back to the board, either in the work session or in the final presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Moving on to the next item on the agenda is an action item for student services. We have the proposed 2025-26 academic school year calendar updates and 2026-2027 academic school year calendar.
Hello there. Vice Chair, I will remind the board that at the last board meeting, we did present some adjustments to the 2025-2026 calendar and the 2026-2027 calendar moving forward. So tonight, we're here for action on those items, and certainly I have not had any additional questions from the board members before moving forward, so tonight I ask for your action on those items.
All right. Could I get a motion to approve the 2025-2026 academic school year calendar and 2026-2027 academic school year calendar?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Thank you. Then we also have the school board meeting adjustments.
Yes, and mine are over there. So I know that we have a request. We will not have all board members present on the February or the March 17th date. And so we are looking for the approval of the budget. So we are looking to move the work session. No, we're looking to move that to March 3rd.
Yep.
And we need approval to do that.
All right, so
March
motion,
3rd.
could I get a motion to move the March 10th meeting to March 3rd as a special meeting to adopt the FY26 budget?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the motion is approved. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to upcoming meetings. We have a regular school board meeting and public hearing on the FY26 Superintendent's proposed budget and CIP on the consent on Monday, February 24th, 2025 at 6:59 p.m. City Hall Board Chamber, second floor. Then we have a budget work session. Nope, we don't. We're gonna have a special meeting on March 3rd to adopt the FY26 budget, Monday, March 3rd at 6:59 p.m. And moving on to our student representative report.
So the student community has some announcements for tonight. Manassas Park High School has the following events coming up. The information conference for the Manassas Park High School Nurse Aide and Emergency Medical Technician programs for rising seniors will be taking place during Cougar Time on February 11th. Applications will also open then, and the due date for the applications is to be determined. Girls basketball and indoor track senior nights is also on February 13th. On February 18th, the I2I Regional Conference for students will be taking place, where they will be able to explore different job opportunities in different fields. On February 19th, the Lockheed Martin Engineering Day will be held, and 15 of our students will be attending. On February 20th, our high school Future Business Leaders of America chapter will be competing in the FBLA Germana Regional Conference against other schools. After over 4 months of hard work and preparation, we wish them luck. Spring sports tryouts start on February 24th. February 25th, the Manassas Park Fire and Rescue Department are coming to visit MPHS for a collaboration event. On February 27th, the Hilton Performing Arts Center is going to visit MPHS as well for a collaboration event. Club pictures in the high school are scheduled for February 28th from 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. From March 3rd to 7th, 15 MPHS young women will be taking part of a roofing academy. The 2025 yearbooks at MPHS are now on sale. They are on sale for $55, and you can order a yearbook for your student by going to the yearbookordercenter.com and entering the school code 13565. The class of 2025 senior trip to New York will be held on March 21st to 23rd, which will be 2 nights and a full day in the city. As of now, 28 students will be attending, but many kids are taking donations. If you'd like to donate, please contact Ms. Blevins in the high school to coordinate your donation. MPMS also has the following events. The middle school is holding a cultural night on February 25th from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Come join us in appreciating the hard work that the students and staff put in. Cougar Elementary also has some events coming up. February 20th, the kindergarten make and take night will be taking place. On February 27th, the family science night from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. will be taking place. On March 7th, the book fair will begin and it will close on the 14th. The family food market for February will be held on February 13th, and the March market will be held on March 13th, both from 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. while supplies last. PTSO also has some events coming up, like the Spirit Night at Preston's Pub on February 18th from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. They are also having a meeting on February 26th at 6:30 p.m. at Cougar Elementary, and they will also be having a Chick-fil-A fundraiser on March 20th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. The PTSO has also created a Manassas Park parent, student, teacher community on Facebook. Make sure to check it out. We also have some student body topics. Help create awareness about problems with gaming and gambling. The Prevention Coalition of Greater Prince William invites youth to participate in a special problem gaming and gambling awareness art project contest. To enter, you must create and submit an original piece of art that highlights the risk of problem gaming and gambling. Prizes will be awarded to the top 3 submissions and will each win up to a $100 gift card. Winners will also be featured on the Prevention Coalition website, and their works will be displayed at the PWC Government Center during Problem Gambling Awareness Month. For more information on the youth art contest, talk to your teacher and ask them for a flyer. All entries must be submitted by March 1st, 2025. The contest is open for all youths to participate. Senior week activities will also be pushed out until after the New York City trip. The MPHS Crochet and Sewing Club has a meeting every Monday after school. The club is currently in need of supplies. If you would like to donate supplies, please contact Mrs. Rogers for a list of what is needed, or you can drop off any donations you'd like to make at the MPHS office. All donations are appreciated. The MPHS student body would like to remind everyone to stay safe and be careful as weather conditions fluctuate. And the sophomore SLC will be selling carnations on February 12th and 13th, with all proceeds going to the LA Fire Department Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all that. Ask that everyone keep all of those dates and announcements in mind. All right, and moving on now to board members' comments. Are there any comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to the principals. Happy National Principal and Administration Appreciation Week. Thank you for your continued dedication to our expectations of excellence for our school community. Your tireless work does not go unnoticed. For all the other duties as assigned, you guys deserve every recognition that you get.
Second, I mean, we some of us understand what you guys do a little bit more, but the community really needs to also understand the tireless effort that you guys put in. So thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you all for everything that you do, all your sacrifice, your sleepless nights, your fun-filled days. We know each day is different and more exciting than the other, so we appreciate you for that. I also was writing down as Ms. Calso was reading some of the quotes. In each one of those I saw there was something from some of the pillars. And so just you all are just exuding your excellence, your expectation of excellence, and just you all being excellent is just exuded even in the quotes that were read about you. So thank you so much, and just for living each day as a Cougar. We appreciate you. All right, and so that's it. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, this meeting is adjourned. Thank